We're now joined by a former first-round pick of the NFL out of Florida. Heck, Florida could still use this guy with the way that they're playing these days. We'll get to Florida in just a bit. We'll start off positive. That is Super Bowl champion, played for the Patriots and the Rams, former first-round pick Dominique Easley with us. We'll talk about his foundation as well. Dominique, appreciate you coming on in. How you been?
Nah, I appreciate you having me. I've been great.
So how has this been? You've been out of the NFL for the last few years. How has kind of life been to adjusting without having football in the daily grind?
It's honestly, it was going great until I say about like last year's when I really started missing the game. Like I really started missing the camaraderie. I really started missing that feel that you can't get no one else. You can't get nowhere else.
Would you want to coach? Just wondering.
It's crazy that you said that. I just spoke to Muschamp probably a couple of days ago about getting back into coaching. So next year I will be back coaching in Georgia, and then I plan on going to college.
No, that's pretty neat. See, the college game right now, I find it to be so interesting because for all those years it'd be like, oh, man, coaching the NFL, it's so much tougher than college. College, you get to control everything. But now with NIL and the transfer portal, all things I am for, to be clear, it's kind of been NFL football in college.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You got, for instance, Travis Hunter. He's making $2.5 million a year in college. I was making $736 before taxes.
You couldn't even get a meal with that.
Exactly.
Especially in this city if you were to come back to New York.
Exactly. So it's crazy that college has turned out to be the way it is.
And we know the right players got paid back then, but it was all hush-hush.
Exactly.
And then if you took the money and you got caught, then you were basically banned from the sport. You know, we all know the Reggie Bush situation. It was a joke how long he had to be without his Heisman Trophy.
Glad he got it back.
Yeah. Oh, phenomenal.
Yep.
Now, I'm a Heisman Trophy voter. I would always say it's stupid that he doesn't have the award. But it's cool now that these guys are able to benefit off their time because, like, for you, example, first-round pick, you go to the NFL, you play a few years, and unfortunately got hurt a bunch. You had a window where you could have made so much money in a legal way if you were just allowed to, doing appearances at auto ship dealers, doing autograph signings, stuff like that, whatever commercials or, it's just something that it stinks because you never know how long of a window you have.
Exactly. And I always tell people, for me, coming out of college, I was a big brand. There was this Chucky brand. Everybody used to call me Chucky. I used to walk around with the Chucky doll. I would have been making the same amount of money that I did in the NFL in college. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
It never made sense to me because you always look at the pie for college football. Coaches got paid a ton, right? All the commissioners, all the conferences got paid a ton.
Schools
obviously got paid a ton. And it was like, oh, the athlete never got paid. Like, I went to Temple, so I was close with Deion Dawkins, one of my close friends.
Okay.
Hassan Reddick, I know well.
Yeah.
And, like, those guys graduated. I instantly got them an autograph deal. And it was only for, like, $2,000 or something like that. But
it was a lot of money then.
When you're not allowed to make anything back then and someone gives you money, it's life-changing.
You got to think about Pale, right? Everybody, guys that's making millions of dollars now. We was excited for Pale. Pale was no more than $3,000, but that was the world to us back then. Now, $3,000 is chump change for these kids.
Yeah. Heck, you look at Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, Arch Manning. I know he's starting this week, but he's not starting, full-time for Texas, and look how much money they're making. All righty, Dominique Easley is here with us. Patriots, so towards the end of your career when you got to New England, Gerard Mayo, or the beginning of your career, Gerard Mayo was ending his career.
Yeah.
I know you were back in New England last week celebrating Super Bowl 49, which is one of my favorite Super Bowls of all time. But when you look back at Gerard Mayo, when he was a player, it was almost like he was a coach, right?
And that's what I tell people. Everybody that was playing with Gerard knew he was going to be the head coach at some point because that's exactly how he took on his role. Even with me, even with the linebackers that was in there, he was always a coach at all points of time.
So when you get drafted, right, the Patriots at that point already had 3 championships. I know players change, but you got Belichick, you got Brady. As a youngster, was that intimidating walking into that locker room for the first time?
I would say no, because I came from a championship culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, coming from Florida, that was a championship culture. Obviously, we didn't get to a championship culture. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but it was a championship culture, so I understood the expectations that came with it. And then, as you know, Belichick and Myers, they kind of had the same motto when it came to things.
Yeah, how would you describe getting recruited, just recruited by Urban Meyer?
It was very interesting. When I was getting recruited, Herb and the defensive line coach, Coach Mack, had actually flew up to Staten Island, and my mom worked in the projects. So they went to the projects and actually sat with my mom, but my mom didn't like them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my mom didn't like them at all. So I stopped talking to Herb in Florida my whole senior year. I didn't speak to him at all. But it was different because you can tell when he used to walk in the room, and I had other coaches, other schools, the Rutgers, and everybody else in the room, he was separated. Like, you can tell how much weight he actually held.
So how did you end up going to Florida if mom wasn't on board?
Under Armour game. So I wound up winning the MVP of the All-American Under Armour game that year, and we all sat down, all the recruits at the Under Armour game that was thinking about going to Florida, all was already committed, and we all said, yo, we all gonna go. And I didn't even speak to them. I didn't tell them that I was coming to Florida until we was on the bus going to the game, and I had to do the hat picking. I was committed to Oregon.
Okay. So when you did the hats, how did that all go? Like, was mom mad?
No, she wasn't.
It wasn't one of those viral videos where the mom's getting up and leaving. How dare you pick Florida? You disown from the family.
No, it wasn't one of those. She was more so happy that her son got a full ride scholarship to a elite school, and she was a little scared because I was going to Florida, not knowing that I was going to Gainesville and not Florida. Yeah. You know, it's a whole different. Not
Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dominique Easley is in the studio with us. We'll talk about your foundation in a bit and all the great work that you're doing. So we all saw the documentary that came out with Florida. And I know it was more so before you were at Florida. But were those workouts that Urban had still the same when you were there? Because I get my way, highway type of coach, and I know Urban's a very tough coach. Yep. Watching in the documentary, all those late night practices, exactly. That's something like I've never seen.
So what you see as far as that, absolutely correct. Like we had workouts to where we wrestled each other at 2:00 in the morning, 4:00 in the morning. Like when you first get up, it's two men. You put them next to you, put them in front of each other, and you just go at it into the whistle bowls. So that's I guess that's what always gave us the edge when it came to how we played. But it also took a toll on us as well.
Yeah, how did you guys even walk around campus after those I just remember when I played in high school, we would have those off-season workouts, and I always thought it was so stupid because I was a lineman. They would make you jump on these on top of these boxes, and I go, I don't need to jump to play football. I need to block someone as a left tackle. It was stupid, but the next day you always knew who was on the football team because we're walking around Comac High School in Long Island. And you couldn't walk up the steps.
Exactly.
So how did your workouts are a lot tougher than mine, I can tell you that. And I'm weak. But how the heck did you guys just walk around?
We loved it. It made us feel untouchable, to be honest. Like I was just telling somebody that ever since I retired, I started to feel human. Like that. Like that's the feeling that we get, and that's the scares that come behind it is we start to feel human. Like we don't feel like we're going through things to make us feel unhuman.
And then how do you feel now, though? Just wondering.
My body feels great. Body feels great. But it still takes a toll. Like I've had 16 surgeries, 3 ACLs.
Wow.
Yeah. So my body has been through a lot. But I'll say I feel like I retired at the right time.
So when you see someone like Tua Tagovailoa, right? That's been a big topic of conversation. You think he should?
I think you should go.
He should retire.
Yeah, because you got to think about his next hit. We don't know what that hit is going to do. We don't know if that's going to be the end of his life. We don't know if that's going to be the end of his functionality. You know what I mean? And you want to take that chance for a game that's going to end regardless, and it's going to continue when you're gone. So why would you take that? Why would you do that to your family? Why would you do that to yourself?
Is it tough for you now, just wondering, to watch football since you were a part of it, big college program, big NFL team? Is it tough to watch it now, also knowing what happens after football ends?
It's tough. It's tough, but it's not, because it's tough because, like I said, you can never get the feeling of walking out of a tunnel anywhere else in life. And that's one thing. And that's one thing that players lose themselves over is searching for that feeling. And I'm a part of that. I'm still searching for that somewhat of that feeling to feel again, but you can't. So that's what makes it tough, because when you go to watch games, you're watching it different. Like if me and you were sitting there watching the game, I'm seeing a whole different game than you're watching.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? So it's tough to sit there and watch it and know that, dang, I can't get that feeling right now.
First time walking into the Patriot locker room when you finally met Tom Brady, what was that interaction like, Dominique Easley?
It was dope. It was dope. Obviously, hearing about Tom Brady, you would think that somebody with that celebrity status would be cocky, would be off-putting, but no, he's the same person every day. When you come in, he's going to say hi to you. It don't matter if he's seen you once, if he's seen you twice, he's going to say hi to you. He's going to ask you how your day was. So what you see in the media is who he is. And that's rare, to be honest.
Tougher to play for Belichick or Urban Meyer?
That's a good question. I like that. I would say Herb. Belichick is believe it or not, he's a team player. Like he's definitely a player's coach. Like he's a player's coach more than what people think he is. And when you get older, you start to realize those things. When I was young, I didn't realize that.
And also, I have to imagine, right, when you were in college, even though both were my way or the highway type of guys, you could get away with more as a college coach than an NFL coach. I would imagine your practices were tougher at Florida than they were in New England.
Without a doubt. Oh, yeah, that's 1,000%. I'm going to tell you a story. It was my rookie year. It was the first camp. It was 110 degrees outside. Somebody passed out every day to the point where ambulance has to come on. We would move up. This would be the words. Move up 20 yards up. While the ambulance is putting the person in the back, we still going.
Wow.
I overheated. My body temperature was over 100 degrees while I was in an ice tub.
Huh.
And guess what? That next practice, I had to get my behind right back out there.
Yeah.
So it was different. It was different. But at the same time, what I will say, being in Florida, that was needed because that first game, if you're in Florida, that's exactly how you're going to feel.
And that's why I think that Bill loved a lot of the Florida players and Alabama players. I know he's very tight with Saban, and that relationship goes back so many years, but he knows how they practice, and they would not, it wouldn't be a foreign language to them. Even the Rutgers guys, right? Coached hard by Schiano.
Yep.
I think there's a reason why he drafted all those guys because he realized, okay, they'll be ready for tough practices and no-nonsense stuff.
Exactly. And it gives you an edge because one thing that we did when it came November and cats was putting off their pads, we still had our pads on. So by the time we was in game, our body was acclimated to that by the time the playoffs came.
So Dominique Easley here with us. We'll talk about your foundation. Going back to New England last week, they celebrated the Super Bowl 49 championship team. You were a part of that team. What was it like being back at Foxborough?
It was dope. It was dope because you got to see everybody. You got to see what they was doing, and it was good just to have that feeling again. You know what I mean? Because those were a great group of guys. Group of guys.
Now, unfortunately, you got hurt during that run.
Yep.
But you were on the sideline, right?
Yep.
For what happened, the Malcolm Butler play.
Yep.
So Brady hits Edelman. Great comeback. Oh, they just did that to the LOB. And then another crazy catch, and I'm sitting there with my uncles and my cousins, and I'm like, I can't believe this is going to happen again.
Yep.
And then Russell Wilson doesn't hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. And take me through how you processed it.
Practice. We practiced it in practice. We practiced it in that same week, so we knew exactly what was coming. Fortunately, Malcolm stepped up, and he did what he was exactly supposed to do.
Ernie Adams, right, was a big part of that, too.
Yep. Yeah, Ernie's in the background all day, every day. And it's crazy that you bring up Ernie. When you first get to the Patriots and then you just see somebody, just a random old guy just sitting in the back just watching practice.
You're like, who's this guy that looks like Albert Einstein?
Yeah, so you have guys like us just sitting there betting. We putting up bets on what he does because nobody you're not told what he does when you come in there. You got to figure it out or you go talk to Ernie.
Do you think Belichick will coach again?
No.
You don't?
No. And I'll say this. I think he will try, but it's a different era.
See, here's why I think I will. He will coach. He's doing everything now in the media. Bill goes for Mr. Mumbles at the podium, right? Champion but negative image and so much of the fact that, he's a my way or highway type of guy, not a player's coach and all that. That's a perception. Now he's smiling, right? This to me is a calculated move by Belichick, and everyone's going to say, oh, wow, Bill's great on TV. Oh, Bill's smiling. This is a different Bill. I think there will be enough jobs this cycle, whether it's Dallas,
without a doubt,
Philadelphia, maybe even Chicago, the Giants. Yeah. That's why I kind of think he's going to get hired this go around.
When you put it in that perspective, I didn't look at it in that perspective on what he's doing in the media and how he's trying to change his brand image. I think so. Yeah, I think it could be a possibility.
Did you ever have a moment with Belichick where you said something in the media and he was like, Dominique, we don't do that. Right? We just don't do that.
Did I? No, I don't think I did. But we've had every Monday when we come into a meeting, Tuesday or Monday, we come into Monday or Wednesday, but we come into a meeting, somebody's up there. Somebody, majority of the time it's Rob.
For the Uggs commercials.
Yep.
Right.
Majority of the times it's Rob. Rob is usually the one that's up there. Yeah, he always says some outlandish stuff.
I can understand that one. Yo soy fiesta. So I know you weren't there for Super Bowl 52.
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked this question to Malcolm Butler before, and it's like the greatest secret ever. Do you know what happened why Malcolm got benched for that Super Bowl?
No, I don't. I don't know what happened at that point in time, but the only thing that can come up that I can think of is that he just kept getting beat or there was something internal that was going on. But usually stuff that's internal when it comes to the Patriots, don't really
get out.
Yeah, don't get out, nor does it affect him, the person playing, if they're at an elite level. You know what I mean? Like unless you really did something to harm the team, I'll say. And obviously it can be at different levels.
So you go from New England after a few years there, and you go to the Rams. Mm-hmm. Eventually, you get to hook up with Sean McVay.
Yeah,
McVay as a coach, probably a 180 from Belichick, and right, the young whiz kid, and really a player's coach.
Yeah, without a doubt, I love Coach McVay. Like he's without a doubt understanding of what you're going through as a professional athlete, and that's one thing that you can't get out of a lot of coaches because they've never experienced that. If they've never experienced it, they don't want to try to understand. And they think it's this way because of what they've seen.
How would you describe Aaron Donald being in the same locker room?
Oh, that's my brother. Yeah, that's my brother. He's one person that works. What he has received is what he's worked for. Every little bit of it. Like his work ethic is crazy.
Do you think he'll ever come back to the NFL? Because you know that conversation's going to happen in a few weeks. Oh, this team on a playoff run? Maybe they call up Aaron Donald.
I would say no, and the reason why is because family. Like he's enjoying his kids. He has his kids at home. He's finally like leaning into his family. He's enjoying seeing his kids play football. So I think he's enjoying his kids' growth. And
also, I know as a competitor, right, there's always things that you think you could do more of.
Yeah.
He's accomplished literally
everything.
Defensive Player of the Year, all pros, Super Bowl. Like, there's no, I think he was he told me this when he was on with us. He was motivated to go get that second ring.
Yeah.
And once it didn't happen, it was like, okay, I was already thinking about retirement. Now it's because he said he wanted to play for 10 years.
Yeah. We've had that conversation many times. 10 and done. When he got the Super Bowl, he was thinking about finishing it. But like you said, he wanted to go back and try to get another one and try to be up it a little bit.
Are you surprised Billy Napier is still the coach of Florida? Because after he got blown out this weekend, you start the season with 2 blowouts in the swamp, I thought that was it. He was going to get fired.
Yes, I am surprised just by that comment that he made. I mentioned it earlier. When you sit here and say that you expect a team like Florida to be 0-3 in the season because of the type of schedule that you have, that's not our culture. We expect that schedule, and we want that schedule because we know we're going to dominate that schedule.
What advice would you give whoever they bring in, right? If that coach calls you up, which this is what coaches should do, right? Yep. They make the players before them feel welcomed, an open door, all that stuff. They say, Dominique Easley, what do you need to know? What do I need to know about being the head coach of Florida so I could have success here? What would you say?
Our culture at Florida is a grind. We work to the point where we separate ourselves and we have something that comes with us. And it's nasty. Like the way we play, if you look back at the years of who Florida is, we play nasty. We play loud. So if you can't give that same energy at all times, it's going to be hard for you to last here. So we need you to be loud.
It's not a matter of if he's going to get fired, Billy Napier. It's just when they do it. Who do you want to be the next head coach?
I always like Lane. I know everybody's talking about Lane Kiffin. I love Lane Kiffin ever since because I played against him a lot at Tennessee. So I always loved the way I loved his energy. He has the culture of Florida because even when he's at Tennessee, he made that same culture. That culture was at Tennessee.
Here's my thing though. I think Lane would be the best, the home run hire out of the candidates that people are talking about. It's weird, and I said this to Dan Mullen when he joined us earlier today. 5 years ago, if I would have gotten on the radio and said the Ole Miss coach shouldn't leave to go to Florida, I would be told I'm an idiot.
Yep.
But like now with how it is, and he has Ole Miss humming, and Florida's in a bad spot, it's almost like it's a lateral move in this landscape of college football.
I believe so. I never had the opportunity to talk. You talking about Dan Mullen, right?
Well, no,
Lane.
I'm saying Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Like if
yeah.
Lane leaves Ole Miss for Florida, is that an upgrade? I right now it's a downgrade.
It is. It's a downgrade. It's a downgrade, but at the same time, he knows if Lane comes back here at Florida and does what he's supposed to do, you can't do that at Ole Miss. Like you can't. You have an opportunity to do that at Florida, but you don't have the opportunity to do that at Ole Miss.
And I saw Urban said, he goes, that ship has sailed. I don't think Florida's calling him back.
No, he's done. He's done at Florida.
What do you look for Patriots Jets tonight?
Obviously, I'm always gonna go for my boy Mayo and Brissett because I played with him in college. But Jets is looking stronger right now. And when it comes to the Patriots and the Jets, it doesn't matter how the season's going. It's always gonna be a game down to the wire. Always.
And then before we let you run, Dominique Easley, tell me about the foundation, all the good work that you got cooking up there.
Yeah, so we have an Easley Foundation where we serve athletes from all sectors, mental health, where we're now trying to give people resources to understand how to be vulnerable and also communicate within this vulnerability during your transitioning stage as well as when you're in the NFL, because we don't know what our family's going through. Our family doesn't know what we're going through, and that's why a majority of these guys wind up losing themselves or failing because there's no vulnerability to correct the mistakes that's internal.